I have no reason for a starting soon screen. I have no use. It's just another thing. If I didn't have a starting soon screen, I would simply choose the scene I would have started with before the stream. So it's really making everybody's life worse. Because the people who watch have to wait for me to find the scene that I'm supposed to be on for the stream. I think I started talking before I went live. I forget that if I press the button and then start talking, the beginning of my sentence might get cut off because there's a bit of delay, I think, but whatever. I have no use for a starting soon screen basically, because if I didn't have one I would just start in the drawing that I was doing. But because I have one, I don't start in it, and I go live first, and I make sure to have things to do before I start doing the actual thing I'm meant to do, to make the most of such a screen. I seem to have lost my drawing that I was doing. I actually have no idea where it is. I think I accidentally deleted it. There it is. Still don't know which eyes I like more. I want to be done with this today. I've got a lot to do, I think. Mostly done. This was the beginning of yesterday's stream, I think, and this was the end of yesterday's stream. So today, we should have an even more impressive before and after. I sort of need to organize my layers. But I don't want to. Also, I don't want to. So I won't be organizing my layers. What are these? Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out if I could detail the teeth. It would look better. I have to see how other people do draw teeth. I've never actually seen teeth before. I'm gonna have to do some research on that thing. Okay. So, first thing I'm gonna do is give up. What else can I do? This is getting incredibly... The pressure is rising on this drawing. I don't really want to draw it anymore. But if I stop, it will literally never be finished. Let's Google how to shade the hat. Time to try to find an image of a hat with... Oh, actually we already do have one. So the light is coming in, we found out, from this direction. He's entering the gym at this point. He's entered Luke's house, which is the gym. For some reason Luke lives in the gym, I think. Because they're both there at night. I don't know if they have dorms in there, but it is nighttime and him and Jamie are just in the gym together. But as you can see, I guess his face is lit on this side because I guess he's turned a bit this way. So if the light is coming from exactly behind the camera, it would cast a shadow on this side. But then this is lit, so that's kind of confusing. These buildings are like outside. These are outside buildings. He's just walked inside, where I'm assuming there's lights. But there's lights really coming from this side mostly, because this should probably be in light, maybe, if the lights were behind the camera. So the lights are above. Obviously the lights are on the ceiling. so they get obscured by... I guess he's really leaned over. I don't know. But the hat, for some reason, it's lit like this. If the light is coming this way, I guess that makes sense. It would curve more, because this is obviously a curved hat. So if it curves up, light will sort of hit it like... It'll sort of divide like this, I think, more so. And then this, I don't know. I think we're thinking about it harder than the original artists. I don't really understand light at all. I only understand it from the perspective that if you have like... If light is hitting here, if the sun is on this side, then this side is lighter. And this side is darker. And then if the sun was on this side, it would be the opposite. That's really what I know. And then if the sun is hitting this object and there's a floor, it'll cast a shadow because it is blocking. And then from there you could do, if somebody's face has a hand in front of it and it is blocking sunlight, then it'll cast a hand-shaped shadow where light doesn't get to. But that's a lot easier in fucking Simple World, where those are the only components. Let's see here. Let me pull up some images of... I think this guy's name is Tom Bogard. I'm gonna be right back, actually. Alright. So, here's what we should do today. The thumb. Some more of the glove. The glove doesn't need to be shaded too much because it's already pretty dark compared to the rest of everything. This part of the hand. This needs to be cleaned up. And then this shoulder. So this. 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 And then we'll probably do shading. What's up, Garth? How's it going? We're on an art arc right now. Arc. So next month is the Scrubathon. There will be a lot of video gaming next month. But this month, there is an art contest for Street Fighter 6. That awesome game. It looks like this. Or it looks like this. You ever see the logo for Street Fighter 6? It's a hexagon. Because hexagons have 6 sides. But it also has the Roman numeral 6 sideways. Because Street Fighter used to do the Roman numerals, like Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 4 had them, the V. But it's also the number 6 shaped. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, so I'll be sitting the art contest out. It's not like a Phrenic art contest. Oh, I guess either way you could have participated. Everyone's allowed to participate in the Capcom one. But yeah, I've heard it's been heating up. I haven't looked at the submissions. It's weird. It's like you just put up your art with the hashtag, and I guess you're submitted. And you can do unlimited submissions. Here, let's look at some of these. I guess. What is it? It's SF6. The Japanese hashtag, it's kind of lame. There's 2 hashtags, so you can't look at both at once. Art contest. I don't remember what the thing is called. I don't even know what this is. How do I get to Street Fighter? Here we go. AI isn't allowed. If it's suspicious, there's ways to verify, right? So, like, let's say I submitted this. One, I've streamed myself making it, so obviously there's that. But when you draw stuff, it's kind of a digital-only thing, I guess, because you're submitting it digitally. I'm sure you could do an in-person thing, but it has to be scanned well. But obviously, if you have a body of unique work, then you probably aren't doing AI. And then if you have, like, if you do it digitally, you always have older versions. That's just what you do as an artist, is that you hold on to older drafts. Because you want to see if you screwed something up along the way, or if you liked an old idea, or just because it's satisfying to see the progress. This isn't for the contest, by the way. You can only do the 22 characters that are in the game right now. They announced 4 new characters the other day, including Terry Bogard. And I just started doing a redraw of this frame from the reveal trailer. And it was one of those things where you start to draw something and you kind of like it. And you know if you don't finish it in this kind of sitting, you'll never touch it again. For fear of screwing it up or whatever. So I need to finish this first. Well, it's good warm-up anyways. So it's a redraw, and I might post this. But yeah, AI isn't allowed. And a lot of AI art looks really good. Like, you could definitely eventually get something that looks really close. But there will still be signs, I think, even with the most advanced versions. And again, if you have something really top tier, then... Well, first of all, AI has, like, a lot of styles that are very, It doesn't have, like... It's not gonna... You're not gonna see something you've never seen stylistically with AI yet, right? So, I don't know how to explain it, but there's certain styles that AI has mastered and you've seen everywhere, and then there's some styles that you've never seen yet. Like, I don't think any AI has made anything that looks quite like this, especially with these pixels. AI has never... I don't think I've seen... Because AI stuff is always blurry, and it has, like... It's not drawn in the same way. It has, like, those weird sort of line, sort of veiny... I don't know. When it's not sure what to put, it gets really, like, intersecting liney, which is not, like, a human, unsure thing to do when you're drawing. But I've never seen, like, anything that looks like this. Let me see. I do follow an AI art account because it made good-looking stuff, so it was useful. So I bookmarked a handful of Street Fighter drawings that I thought would be useful. Let me see here. Well, it's the same with Steam, too. You have to confirm that it's, like... uses AI stuff, or else I guess you have a big problem. But there's a voting process, so people will crack the code. Like, here's a drawing I saw the other day on Twitter. And I wasn't sure if it was AI, and then I checked and it was. Where is it? Why isn't it capturing? What is going on? It was just capturing like a second ago. Well, I minimized the tab it was focused on. So like I saw this, it was like a really detailed Chun-Li. But it turned out to be AI. But AI is good at like this like really realistic stuff. So if the realism is like to this degree, you could count on it being AI. Well, like this, I've never seen AI draw something like this, and it's very kind of almost definitely done with pencil probably. There's some styles that look more obvious than others. But let's look at the entries. But it's sort of, it's a double-edged sword thing. So, ironically, some AI models can really replicate, like, artists, very specific artist style if they have a lot of work. But if they become that notable, then you know exactly. Like, this Hungry Clicker guy, he does a fighting game, or, like, video games and anime stuff. He does a new drawing every single day, almost. And they're all really, really detailed paintings. So I bet an AI could replicate their style, because there's so much of it. But again, like, he's not gonna have any trouble convincing someone he's him, because his Twitter is so popular to get to that point. And then if somebody else replicated that style to such a degree, that's when it gets suspicious. So if you replicate a style that already exists very perfectly, you're probably AI. But if you're not, then you can prove it. It is going to be something they'll have to look out for. But again, there's a voting phase, like I was saying, so if you... I guess the people are going to vote. I don't know if it's in the game or on Twitter. There's too many submissions to do them all in the game. And then they'll have to like communicate what's eligible and what's not, because there's a lot of people drawing the 4 new characters, and they're not eligible according to the rules. And I don't think they've made a tweet clarifying it. Where was the, Oh, they retweeted this. I don't think they've clarified yet since they announced the new characters, but the rules on the website still say 22. It makes sense because of the way that the contest works is that if you win, you get into the game. So your art is in the game, and you'll be able to equip it on one of these like screens where it says new challenger approaching or whatever. So when you're in ranked and you challenge people, you can set different styles to your character, like different artworks. So if I played Manon, which is this character, I could equip this guy's art if he won and got into the game, and then when people challenged me, this would pop up. So they're doing 20 winners and they'll get in the game, and then your name will also be in the credits. So, yeah. This is what people are submitting. This one's pretty good. But if it's a vote, I didn't know it was a vote at first, so it's gonna be kind of... It might be a little biased. Some people have better followings than other people. But I have a few sketches. And I was going to do a lot, because I thought Capcom was gonna pick them internally. But now that I know it's a vote, I'll probably only do one really good one. Because I figured if I did a lot, then Capcom would be like, oh, maybe... Because some artists don't have to do the contest. Some of them just get approached and they do a whole set that they put in the game. Because obviously, for art to be in the game, they have to have artists that they contact directly, right? So that was going to be my plan. I was going to be like, I don't care if I win the contest, but... Like, they've approached artists to do collaborations, like full-on every character collaborations, and those artists weren't that incredible for the most part. There's some really good ones, but there's some ones that were like, you know. So I thought as long as I could like get the characters on model and in like a good pose or whatever, I'd be pretty like in good standing. But now that I know it's public, I need to have exactly one really good one that'll beat everyone else's. To be honest, I don't know. Obviously, not everything here is a winner, but the reality is there's so many that even if you did draw the best one, no one's gonna see it. There's just so much shit here. I should have submitted mine really early so it'd have less going on. I like this costume for Guile. It'd be cool to have that costume in the game as a portrait. Yeah, I need to finish my warm-up piece. And then there's also the meta of, like, if I draw a popular character, it'll get a lot of likes and retweets or whatever compared to an unpopular character. But then when it comes to voting, if you're doing Cammy, right, then everyone's going... You're going against the other Cammies. Like, all the Cammy players are gonna get split among the Cammies, but if you do like a dark horse pick, like Marisa or Zangief or whatever, then you have all those mains that want a new piece of art on their character or whatever. Oh, this is a good idea. I might steal this. Guile's upside down kick would be kind of cool. Like if you made it look cool. I might steal that. I don't know yet. I should really only do one drawing. But yeah, there's not that much Guile stuff, and Guile's a popular character. But see, this guy did Bison, or this was before they even announced Bison. I'm not even sure. I don't remember. Yeah, this is a couple of days before they even announced Bison was back. I think. Because I was at Summer Games Fest, which was on the 7th. But yeah, I'm actually not seeing that many DLC characters. I was seeing a lot of my Shiranui, who is also announced. If you know who that is. Yeah, I don't know. I was seeing people saying that the competition is crazy, but it looks around the same, actually, as before. There's a range of talent. Also, the algorithm's nuts. 5 likes to 1.6 likes. But also, or 1.6k. But also, like, why does this have 1.6k? This is definitely better than that. This is when the bias kicks in, where it's like, if you have a following, obviously, this guy beats this guy. You have to really draw something sick to really beat that fucking built-in disadvantage or whatever. But I really, really, really want to win. I want to be in Street Fighter. So that's kind of what this month is now. There's a lot of weak stuff. I'm gonna be honest. What is lists? I guess media would be the one you'd want to click on if you want a lot of results. Some of them are really good. But I don't see really more than 20 yet that I think are like killers that will like are unbeatable. A lot of the Aki ones are good. She seems like she's hard to draw too. Okay. Yeah, I have a huge database of Capcom art. This isn't Capcom. Well, it is technically. Technically, but not technically. This is Nishimura as the artist. She's very associated with Capcom, and this art is for a Capcom game that featured SNK characters. That's been my main reference for this. But I'll draw this, and I'll post it, and people love redraws. People like to compare things. I'll get 1 new follower for it. And then that follower will get me 2 new followers when I post my actual submission. And it's totally the reason why I'm not even working on my submission when I should be. It's actually very calculated. Some artists like went to school and stuff for art. I think that there's so much you can learn in art from masters. Like, coding, I think, is something you can learn from YouTube. And it's diminished from having a teacher, right? But art, if you can have somebody look at your art and tell you what's wrong that's a lot more valuable than a YouTube video, I think. I don't think there's... I guess that's true with everything. But art, there's so much information, like lighting alone. Lighting, there's too much to understand. No artist fully understands lighting, probably. Or else that would be like their major... They would be like a scientist if they understood exactly how light works. But in order to make good art, you do need to have like an insanely good understanding of how to convey realistic lighting. Even if you're not drawing something realistic, you have to know how things are supposed to look to be able to cartoon them anyways, right? I think it's very misleading when people are like, oh, I don't need to learn anatomy or whatever because I don't want to draw realistic stuff. You still need to know anatomy to be able to exaggerate features that are interesting, because you might not realize that like exaggerating like this body part will actually seem weaker or whatever. I don't know. There's like, you just gotta know so much to be very good at this. Really, my only solution to all this stuff is to just, like, really do random shit and then compare what I did to how it was before. It's literally brute force trial and error. But I would be able to make art much faster if I just knew what was correct from the beginning. And then fucking stuck-ups will tell you there's actually nothing that's correct in art. That's what makes it art or whatever. But... also, there's some art that generally looks better than other art, and there's people who improve their art. And the fact that you could start and finish art means that there are certain things that you can improve on, generally. Right. So, if you can know, the more you know about how things are supposed to look, then the less decisions you have to make, and you're generally more energized if you make less decisions. I think I read somewhere that like every time you make a decision, you're twice as tired. Like you always cut your energy and your IQ in half every time you make a decision. It's real. I don't think it's that intense. But I remember seeing it had to do with, it was fighting games where they wanted to put less decision making in the menus, like to pick your character, to pick your super, to pick your costume. They want to do less of that because people were less able to make decisions in the actual game. You were fatiguing everybody before they actually got into the match. And it's like that with everything. It's like that with fighting games, too. Well, I guess I just said that. But if you have your flow charts really maximized, like people will tell you, like, you want to be dynamic. You don't want a flow chart. You'll be predictable or whatever. But if you have it to a fucking autonomy, where if your opponent jumps in, you Shoryuken, and you're doing it without thinking, right? Because we're capable of training ourselves to do things without thinking. It's not just anime. Right? Like, you can grab the cigar or the cigarette even when you're out. Even when there's no cigarette there, people will still raise their fingers or whatever. They'll, like, go to where they usually grab the cigarette and then hold it. Because it's just automatic. They don't think about it first. And there's obviously all kinds of automatic stuff we do. But, like, besides breathing and blinking, which is, like, biological... You can train yourself to do very mundane, subjective things automatically. And then there's like the middle ground where it's just like, well, I know that this is true. So the more of that, like to automatically draw certain things a certain way, that will make it better. And then just knowing what the drawing needs by looking at it. They're all things that you can study and practice. Obviously, but also It's very Dunning-Kruger maximum. The more you realize that your drawing has all this science to it, the less you really want to do it anymore. And then again, if you want good feedback and stuff, like, the best form of feedback is to, like, share and to take critique, but then you have to, like, talk to artists and stuff, right? Which is not good for anybody. So the idea is, like, we could, like, imply a rim by making the lighting, like, stretch past the halfway, like where all the other light divides the rim up. We have to also imply the angle here. So it can't be a straight line, it has to curve up. And in general, shadows look more interesting when they're curvy, I think. So there's always the push and pull, too, of, like, correctness and goodness. So something could look good, and then it's wrong. But that's better than looking right and bad. But usually, it's always 1-to-1. Or usually there's, like, a sort of, like, meter. So if you lie in one place and do something wrong on purpose to make it look good, you have less stock available. So you could do that like 5 times and then it looks terrible because you've done too many things wrong. I think that's how it works. And then once you become a master, you can like do it endlessly, I think. Once you become so good, you can like lie as many times as you want and you'll know exactly how to like integrate it. This is all made up. I've never really taken like a... Well, I actually have taken a few art classes, I guess. But they were not like drawing classes. I took studio art, but that was just like mostly just drawing. Not a lot of learning about drawing. And it was like general art. So it was more about design principles. Like composition stuff, which was actually very helpful. Like... stuff like diagonals, like how to fill up a frame in interesting ways, which is useful. Like, this is a good shot because there's like a subject, and then there's like a focus segment of the subject, which is the face, and then there's lines that point you towards the face. So if you're over here, obviously the thumb is pointing you towards his eyes. And then there's this diagonal pose, which looks cool, but it also leads you back into his head. And then there's a ponytail, which also leads you into his eyes. And then over here it does too. Like, diagonals are good. And then different different proximities to the camera. So this is closer to the camera than his head, which is closer to the camera than the ponytail and the arm. I think that stuff is also good. There's like a bunch of... There's like a whole book's worth of like things that'll be satisfying to look at. I don't know what else is here. That's it. I just remember diagonals. I don't know. There might be like a better... like actual composition. Like if you made him closer to a third, like if you divided the canvas up into thirds, they tell you to do this, to put the most interesting thing into one of these lines. So you'd probably want his head to be closer to where it is here. And I guess that's a stronger composition. But we don't have that freedom because we're redrawing someone else's thing. Yeah, you'd probably want this. Maybe that's a stronger composition. But something about his shoulder is kind of nice to look at too. Even though it's ugly right now, it's kind of a mess. I don't know, rule of thirds is like... It's kind of like beginner shit. Like, they tell you to draw... It always looks good, right? To do, like... This. This is always good. But it's not the only thing you should ever do. And there's a lot of other cool stuff you could probably do if you don't just do that. Right? Like, you can do this. And that can look really good, too. But if there's not a lot of interesting stuff going on, you probably need to fill your intrigue meter by doing this. But I think there's already enough intrigue. Maybe I would, like... Maybe I would remove this. I don't know. Now there's too little on this side. Now we're back in the middle. It does feel like maybe there's a little too much on the left. And I always like diagonals. I only know diagonals and rounding. If you use them both, then it's satisfying. If it's round and has diagonals, it's like unreal. It's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. I've never really watched art videos. I can't get through them because you actually really have to watch them because art is so visual or whatever, or at least I would be doing visual stuff. You can't just listen to a bunch of advice. It doesn't exist. And then again, art people who do art. You can't listen to them too long. Okay, what have we done so far? Got a little bit of hat work in here. His hat looks different in literally every game ever. Like the size of the logo, and then the size of this front thing, and the shape. I made his hat really round. Which I think I'd prefer a boxier hat, but at this point it's already drawn. And it looks fine, so I don't think I want to change it. Again, the nice thing about a redraw is you only really need to make it slightly better than the original. And if you really don't know how to do that, you could just make it exactly the same as the original and you get credit for it. I'm not sure if this part makes sense, but I think it looks better with the little curve thing. I don't know why light would move forward in the back of the rim, but it looks better, I think. The hat is really like... The hat is going this way. This is the rim. It's really angled away from us. So the shadings should reflect, because the darkest part, the biggest contrast in light is along this line, where the rim reaches its apex, is when it's accepting light over here, and then it stops accepting light over here, or it accepts less light. Because now this part of the hat is facing away, whereas this was always facing forward. I guess this could have more light if the rim like curved up towards where the hat starts. That might be why it looks correct. I feel the need to explain stuff because if I don't, I look crazy because I tend to just add something and then immediately remove it and then stare at it for like 10 minutes. Yeah, that looks much worse than it was. I also don't... I like that too. Nah. I think I should bring the front down more though. Problem is this is like a gradient, so it's kind of hard to like add in more without sort of breaking the look of it. I think that's better. But we did lose some of that hatch, like the rim curve. I'm gonna try to find a reference. I mean, I could just find a guy wearing a hat. It doesn't have to be Terry. Sometimes he has like a white rim around the rim. But I don't know if that looks better. The edges are harder to edit because it's not like a full canvas. I can't like draw over other stuff. I can't just take an eraser to this because it's below the layer I'm on because I don't want to actually edit the previous drawing yet. I'm making these changes right away. Yeah, I might need to square it up more. Like the OG. And I don't know anything about hats, man. I think that back angle is definitive. Whatever from this drawing, the back angle is needed. Straight improvement there. It's all boxed up. Let's try to bring this into more of a corner. I think that was successful. Yeah, doing the Fatal Fury text last would have been the correct thing to do. Would have made things easier. That was important, what I just did. I think. I don't know. I'm a bit of a pussy today when it comes to making decisions. Alright, I'm gonna work on the shoulder now. I'll come back to the hat. The shoulder is the worst. I gotta figure out how to draw a shoulder. Like a cartoon ripped shoulder at this particular angle. Yeah, I'm really just eyeballing everything, to be honest. I brought up a reference image, but I'm just trying to make it look sort of okay right now. How does it look in the thing? Well, I changed the angle so he can flex more. Still failing. It'll eventually get to the right thing with enough transparent shapes stacked on top of each other. Can't really find this angle anywhere on a character. That was kind of a ridiculous one, I guess. Light might let some interesting torn shapes cast on the shoulder. Would his shoulder be that facing forward? I feel like that's pretty good. We just need to clean it up. It can't be this messy. And then there's too big a fucking highlight. Okay. I don't know. But we should try to outline it normally, like it was any other part of the drawing. I mean, it's an improvement, but only because it's more done. It's not, like, more good. It's just further along than the other that it started. Doesn't particularly look good. This is a result of, like, cancer. Cancerous pussyfooting of not committing to any lines and hoping that all the little non-commitments will sort of come together and average out to something good. Dude. It's more, it fits better than it did before, but none of the rest is this uncertain. Everything else is pretty committed. You just gotta clean it up. Terry doesn't actually often have sleeves that look like this specifically. They don't like pop out upwards like Ryu's gi, but it looks better like this. If they just pop out at the last moment before the red vest ends. There's always like, in the art, a lot of the time it doesn't have the rips, which is weird because it just looks better with them. But there's also like more travel time. Like they go forward more so than upwards. But I like this better. Yeah, the edges of this need to be way better defined. not a lot of... Oh, never mind. Well, there isn't a lot of, sleeve being exploded guide to shading. And that alone made it look a little bit better. Alright, it's time to make the background something easier to see. I need that extra tear. His name is Terry because his sleeves are torn, teared off. When did Ryu get ripped sleeves? Did he always have... Oh, from the very start, I think. Street Fighter 2, he already had it. Or did he? Well, they wouldn't be able... If they wanted to have him have ripped sleeves, they wouldn't have had the space to draw on Street Fighter 2. So this isn't a good reference. But in all the art, he has ripped sleeves. Did Ken have ripped sleeves in Street Fighter 2? Because in Street Fighter 6... he doesn't have ripped sleeves in his outfit too. But I think he looks better always. They both... It's just always cooler to have ripped sleeves than no sleeves. In Street Fighter 5, he did in his classic costume. In Alpha, he did. But on Street Fighter 1. Street Fighter 1, he did not. Oh, did reused? Wow, so from the very beginning, it's actually less consistent with Ryu. Ryu always was ripped first. Which I guess makes sense. I mean, they should both be ripped. But Ryu is homeless and Ken is rich, so he would easily be able to buy a new gi if it was ripped. But it's totally inconsistent. This is from Street Fighter Alpha, I think. Not Street Fighter 1. And I don't know where these drawings... I don't think these are the original designs. Because they're so much better. Every character has a drawing like this. They're much nicer than the actual game art. So I don't know why they would make any of these terrible drawings if these already existed. The in-game portrait doesn't show enough. And then again, the spray is too small to put a detail like that in. The NVC interpretation is no rip sleeves. So I don't know, depending on when this came out, Terry might have actually been the inventor of rip sleeves. Although he didn't always have rip sleeves, and he still doesn't always. This is him in Fatal Fury. Oh, Fatal Fury 1, he doesn't even have shoulders visible. Wait, this would be so cool if they had... If this was Outfit 3, like the really OG Terry design. It wouldn't be that cool actually because it's so similar. But it's a cool look and he's never getting it back, I guess. It might be cooler than his modern look, to be honest. I don't know. I like the sleeves, but he's never had them again. Is this Shinkaro's first fighting game drawing? So this is Fatal Fury 1. This is 2. And then this is designed for eternity almost. He's so tall. This outfit needs to be his outfit 3 though. He's worn it twice. It's the only one that's different, and it's kind of cool also. But his arms might be too big in Street Fighter 6. I predict for this to look normal. This is a cool outfit too, but it's kind of similar to just his normal without a jacket. There's so much residue. The thickness is so inconsistent, but I don't know what is the good thickness. Just a little bit of shading goes so long away. It still looks like a mess, but it somehow is just like much better. This is just, I guess, to show that his jacket's kind of dirty. I don't know, it can't be solid, but I don't really understand how light would interact here with my brain knowledge. But I'm looking at drawings of him, and he does have, like, he always has, like, random stains on his collar. So it kind of works when it looks like this. Either stains or wrinkles, but there is like random variation here. It's maybe a little too rounded. Looks like a cow. Actually, just with this little bit of variation, it looks more like stains. Now I feel like there's like too many shades going on kind of randomly. I don't know, we could fix it later. I don't want to add the highlights. I don't like when his jacket's like shiny. I feel like that's not how it's supposed to look. I'm not really sure. It could be leather, but it also might not be, depending on who drew him. But like not a shiny leather, I don't know. Yo, what's up? Oral Holmes. Is that how you pronounce your name? Or is it Oral Holmes? How are you doing? It's Orale. Oh. Alright, good to know. How you doing? Are you scrolling through the art category? I assume. I don't know how else you would find this stream. Unless it was an art looking. Doing good, yeah, I'm learning pixel art. And what you're working on, grip me in. Yeah, it's kind of pixel art, I guess. I like doing pixel art. It's sort of, technically, like, it's sort of walking the line because it's a higher resolution than you would normally consider pixel art, but it is. There's not a lot of blending going on compared to like a normal, like smooth style brush pen thing. Never mind. I was gonna change pens, but I'm not fucking smart enough to this stuff. But yeah, I like doing pixel stuff because it's very easy to edit, I think. Unlike when everything's kind of blurred together, it's hard to go in and just edit things one by one. And then I guess not a lot of people draw like this, so it helps when the competition is non-existent. And you seem better when you're really mediocre. Or if you're terrible, then you seem mediocre, and so on. So pick a field no one else is doing, generally. Yeah, I'm redrawing this frame from the recent Street Fighter trailer. I don't know if you're a Street Fighter or Terry Bogard fan, but there's a art contest going on with Street Fighter, and this isn't even for the art contest. It's not eligible because this character isn't allowed, because they just announced him. But I just felt like redrawing this frame, and then I did redraw it, and then I kind of liked the lines I drew, so now I want to like actually finish it. So even though I want to compete in the art contest, I know that if I stop working on this, I would just never touch it again. And I kind of want to finish it. So I want to finish this first, and then I'm going to really grind the art contest. I'm a really big both Street Fighter and SNK fan. So I like this character, and I really want to do entries for the Street Fighter contest. I'll probably end up only doing one. I might do two. It depends on how much time I have, because I really want to cook it to make it look good, so people vote for it. It would be very cool to win. If you win the Street Fighter art contest, your art actually gets into the game, and they put your name in the credits and stuff. And Street Fighter is one of my favorite games, so that would be like, that would be extra epic. But it's not just about winning. I just want to have an entry. Otherwise, I'd be a total doofus. That's awesome. Thank you. Or, yeah, it's awesome. I guess you're saying the contest is awesome. My friend is really into Street Fighter 6. I never played it though. You should try it if you like fighting games, or if you don't. If you've tried fighting games in the past and you felt that they were like too obtuse and weird to get around, Street Fighter 6 has a lot of tools. They have the modern controls, and they have like a bunch of, they have a single player mode that's like very safe and secure. You don't have to worry about people just ultra comboing you and you never getting to play. And then you could learn and meet the characters and get motivated that way, and then inevitably learn like the inputs if you care to learn that stuff. And the training mode has, it's kind of almost too much stuff. I can imagine people getting overwhelmed, but they have so many options to toggle that will help you learn how to cancel moves, or how it's when moves like start or end or whatever. I watched him play the single player campaign. That was really interesting to me. Yeah, the single player I think is the best fighting game single player. If you don't count like edge case fighting games, like anime stuff. I'm sure they have a lot. I don't play a lot of anime games, but I'm sure there's anime stuff where they're like really focused on the story, because like animes are stories. And then like Smash Bros. Brawl had that subspace single player thing that was cool, but it's really only so good because the cutscenes. If you've played that, the cutscenes are just amazing. And then the gameplay is pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as the World Tour in Street Fighter 6. It's just really well thought out. It's kind of buggy and annoying. Like the graphics aren't great, and like just for the overworld, there's a lot of like weird looking stuff, and the graphics in the battles are perfect, and the enemy variety is like the actual battles themselves are kind of wonky, but it's fun to like fight an upper level enemy. It's an RPG where the mechanics are completely grounded in competitive logic, because that's how Street Fighter is. You're not your whole level up system in normal Street Fighter is how good you are at the game. So it's one of the only leveling up type games where you could be a level 1 and just obliterate a level 99. It's really almost impossible to do that, but it's cool because you're going to be practicing the mechanics anyways, and then you could kind of flex in the single player mode of like you could go up against characters that are way over leveled, and you could get rewarded for beating them early. So that's really, really cool. And not even out of the fighting game genre, not other games can like capture that feeling of like, I'm so underleveled and I obliterated you. It's just not something that happens too often because of the nature of RPGs. Lets you progress at your own skill. Yeah, exactly. And then just being able to equip everyone's moves. Like, if you want to learn, if you like certain things about Dhalsim, but you don't want to play as him, you could just equip some of his moves. And then when you actually eventually come to play as a character, you have a bit of a head start in learning him because you've used his moves in the single player mode. And you've got an understanding of like why it could be useful. And then when you get to the actual character, you go, oh wait, this teleport move actually works perfectly with his crouching whatever punch, you know? Like, you figure out why the character's normals are made the way they are to complement their specials and vice versa. It's a really cool mode. And I don't think many other fighting games are going to get modes like that, because they definitely... It's just like a big thing. I don't think... They put so much work into it. It's very hard to, like, imitate. And then there's an arcade mode too, where you get the regular character stories if you don't like the OC stuff, which is cool. I think it's such a great game for both beginners, and the actual mechanics of the game too are like some of my favorite in fighting games. The drive system and just the fluidity of the game. Every character has so many options, and the combo system I really enjoy. I can't imagine how long it took them to make that campaign and investment money. Yeah, Capcom has so much money now that they can actually like take crazy risks, which is cool to see. They're like in that middle ground where like they're a huge third-party developer, so they have a lot of money. But the last Street Fighter game was, I guess, commercially under expectations, so they did actually they had the resources to take risks, and they were in sort of a flimsy position where they had to take risks. Whereas some companies, when they have a lot of money, they don't need to take risks because they're like guaranteed like a large selling successor game. So I really like the game in so many ways. And the new DLC they announced, I'm so excited about, because I love SNK also. I really like the King of Fighters games. It doesn't have as much bells and whistles as Street Fighter 6. Like, graphically, it's not on par, and there's almost no single-player stuff. The arcade mode is kind of boring. But I really like the mechanics in King of Fighters, and there's more characters in Street Fighter, so it's got that. Yeah, I'm a Street Fighter fanboy, though, so... Even if it didn't have all that stuff, I would still be playing it and recommending it. Just to warn you. Unless it was really bad. Are you gonna main this guy when he comes out? I don't know. I've never really, I didn't play Terry much in King of Fighters. I did like Rock. They're kind of similar, to be honest. I like Terry in Smash. I never mained him, but he was really fun in that game. I thought he was more fun in Smash than King of Fighters. But in the Street Fighter 6 engine, he'll function really differently. I'm excited to try him. I'm liking Akuma right now. I just switched to... If you're not into fighting games, you won't know too much about like the whole controller triangle. But generally, people who are new to fighting games, they'll use like the pad controller. And then people who are like OGs, they'll use like the arcade stick thing. And then there's this sort of new-ish, it's been around for a while, but it's new in the grand scheme of things, these like button-only leverless controllers. I got this less than a month ago. So Akuma's been nice because he's sort of in like the standard fighting game archetype of like Fireball, Tatsumaki, Hurricane Kick, Uppercut, like the Shoto, Ryu, Ken type character. But he's got a lot of options, so he's more simplified. So I can sort of relearn how to play fighting games with this using him. Terry's also pretty simple, because at least in King of Fighters, they've sort of made him into like a approachable beginner character. They might make him more complex in Street Fighter, I don't know. But I'll play him a lot because I know all his moves already, and it'll be... I'm more so trying to adapt to like the interesting button stuff on this. Like how up is really down here and down is above these buttons, and to do like all the motion inputs is a little bit less intuitive. But I really, really like... How do you like the new controller? I love it. I'm going to main it. Unless there's like a new development down the line. Or like I put something in my brain and it's actually like 10 times better. But I'm really happy with this. It's taking longer to fully speed up than I thought. Like in terms of like being able to do like an uppercut. It takes me way more time in a match than I thought it would this far out. So I thought by this point I would have kind of relearned it and it would be pretty quick. But there's a lot of shortcuts you can learn that make it like a lot faster than like the standard stick. But a lot of them are context sensitive. So like if you're crouching, you could do an uppercut with just forward. Or if you're walking forward, you could do it with tapping down. So there's way more context than in with a stick. You always just do the motion, whereas this you have to like do math to figure out like, all right, well these two together is down forward, these two together is neutral because they're opposite directions. So there's weird stuff where it's like this is down, this is diagonal down forward, and then if I press this is just forward because up and down cancel each other out. So you have to learn how to do a fireball doing this because it's a little bit faster than releasing. I guess hitting a button is technically faster than releasing it. It sounds advanced, but theoretically, if you just... It's the same as learning the original fireball motion. Once you learn the motion, it becomes part of your repertoire, right? Because you don't have to think about it once you learn it. You just do it. It's part of your finger movement. It's like, oh, I'll do that thing I learned. So it's just taking a lot longer to do all that because you're like fighting muscle memory. I'll still sometimes be like I won't have my hand on the controller and I'll just be looking at something or like the ending cutscene or something, and then I'll go to rematch and I'll wave my hand over the controller to try to press it down but then there's no stick there or anything. But yeah, in the long run I think this is so much better just because like there's no travel time. You hold left and then right on a stick and you just Tap, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. No stick could go that fast, and it's the same for everything. And it's just more, it's more objective. There's more confidence, and like, a stick forward is relative. Unless you have like notches, you can't be sure you're pressing exactly forward. You can sometimes, if you're on like these boxy type controllers, it can get shifted diagonally, and now you're right. You're pressing exactly right, but because of the controller's angled, it's messed up. But this is just so objective. So it's more precise and it's faster. So I would like to see an argument why this is worse. Like, before I got it, I figured everybody who had it was just coping. Like, they were like, I got this, but it's not better. So they could keep losing with it and then not add insult to injury that they're using a superior controller. That was my theory. I thought the people who had hitbox wanted no one else to have this power. Now that I had it, I still agree. I still agree now that I have it. I think that's still the case because I think it's the best ever. I was worried that once I got it, I was going to have to eat shit. Like, oh, it's actually not that great. It's, like, about equally as good as controller. Maybe controller's better. No, I think this is, like, as good as it gets. I enjoy it so much. And it's cheaper now than it used to be. These types of controllers used to be a lot of money because there weren't a lot of companies making them. So the small amount of companies that had them, like Hitbox, were, like, way overcharging. I got this one for $55, I think, which is the same amount I paid for my original arcade stick. But I like it so much. And then just the fact that there's no stick there, it's also more convenient for like bringing to tournaments or anything. Like packing a controller with a fat stick sticking out was so annoying. So this is just totally flat on both ends. It's so convenient to take around. Yeah, I'm done shilling for that controller. But yeah, I like this, and I like Street Fighter 6, and I'm going to play a lot of Terry. It depends how much my friends play with me, because fighting games are kind of niche, and then there's lines in the sand for who likes what fighting games, right? So some people like Guilty Gear, some people like Street Fighter, some people like KOF, right? So even if you do have friends that like fighting games, you might want to play this one, and there you might want to play this one, and it might not line up. So, fighting games aren't as fun without friends. So, I'll try to stream a lot of ranked, but I can get mad, so I can't play too much ranked either. Because I like improving a lot in fighting games, but most of all, I want to make sure I'm like mentally able to accept a lot of loss over and over again. Because I used to play for really long sessions, and I'd get so ass mad. And it was like just playing for a really long time and being mad the entire time. And it was not a good place to be in. So now my number one priority is to just stay chill the whole time. If I start to get mad, it's GG's. I want to be able to play for like a really long amount of time and not rage like a total soy head, you know? So I haven't been playing as long ranked sessions. And then I don't have too many people to play with. So I spend a lot of time in training mode, which is a lot of fun. Just like doing the trials, it seems boring, and it's very boring to watch, I think. But it's really addicting to like learn all your combos, and then experiment, and then find out on your own like a huge upgrade. Like you realize you were doing like this meterless, like standard, like crouching medium attack combo that was doing like 1,000 damage. And then all of a sudden you discovered, I might have just found an even easier combo that does 1,800 damage. So I'll get twice as much damage every time I land a crouching medium kick or whatever. And that kind of stuff is really satisfying. And then it's rewarding to learn a very cool looking difficult combo and whip it out against your friends, and they're just fucking like, they're just blown away. Yeah, I recommend Street Fighter 6 as a first fighting game, or a first Street Fighter, or whatever situation you're in. It's awesome. And the characters are cool too. I think one of the most important things with fighting games is you have to kind of like the roster. You have to have at least one or maybe two guys that you really jive with, that you want to invest time in. Because if you don't like the characters, you're not going to want to like learn to play as them and look at them all the time, you know. But I'm a simp for the whole Street Fighter cast. I like all of them. I like Ryu, I like Ken. I like Akuma. I like Shotos in general. I really like Guile. I played a lot of JP at launch because he's just kind of brain dead. You just fire a lot of purple energy at people. I come from MMOs and League of Legends, just about done with both of those now. In League, you skip the part where you get mad and jump straight to depression. I've heard League is also a rage type game. I never got into League. I played the Pokemon League game, the Pokemon Unite MOBA, and I was very addicted to World of Warcraft when the Classic Edition first came out. I played that way too much, and then I just had to stop. I was not giving any time to anything but World of Warcraft. So I bought like 1 month, because you do like the subscription thing. I got 1 month, and then I quit. Right after that month ended, I never bought it again. But I really, really enjoyed World of Warcraft. I went really hard in Classic WoW. Nice. It's a really great game. I was enjoying it. I was amazed how huge the game was for how old it is. Like, you don't see, I guess maybe in the MMO space, because I haven't played any other MMOs besides WoW, but you don't see games as big as that game very often nowadays, despite so many optimizations and development occurring, you'd think, since then. The community being into it really revived it. That's cool. But yeah, I'd have to be in like a totally like super nice spot in life to be able to go back to WoW. I need to be able to afford losing a whole month of productivity, which I can't do at the moment. Just in case, it comes to that point, just in case, I need to be able to not be able to talk to anybody that whole time. But yeah, I really didn't get into League that much, but maybe when that League of Legends fighting game comes out, it'll switch up on me, because I'm definitely going to be playing that. I really love the idea of duos in a fighting game. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think more of my friends will play with me, because it's really fun to go head-to-head to your friends in fighting games, but I understand completely that feeling of like, well, one of the friends is better than the other, always. So one of them's winning the whole time. And it could be unfun once that dynamic is established and just repeating over and over again. I think teaming up and being able to give honest advice to each other and like being very invested in each other's improvement there's going to be a new layer of that in the 2v2s, I hope. That alone is making me excited for it. I don't care that much about the League stuff. Like, I don't dislike any of it. I'm excited to, like, spend time with those characters that other people really like and, like, probably start to develop, like, becoming a fan of whatever League of Legends characters I might try out. Did you watch Arcane? I didn't yet. I heard it was very good, though. I haven't gotten around to it. I probably will watch it eventually. I heard it was, like, very good, though. I completely believe that it was very good. It will give you a little investment in the characters, okay. Yeah, if I start to really like any of the Arcane cast in the fighting game, I will inevitably watch it very soon after liking the fighting game version. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And it's free to play too, so like even more people who are like on the fringe of interest in fighting games are going to jump in, and it's going to be really cool. I think it'll be more successful for getting people into fighting games than the multiverses thing. I wasn't really too interested in that. I think it's free to play. I might have lied about that. I'm 90% sure. They gotta do a online beta. Oh yeah, it's a free to play 2v2 team fighting game developed by Riot Games. It might get a little scummy with stuff, but Aren't most Riot's games free to play? And people don't really complain, I don't think, about the monetization stuff, as far as I've seen. Maybe they do, but I don't see it as much as a lot of other companies. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. The dream is that all of my friends that play League of Legends will hop on and then get totally converted. Or maybe I'll convert backwards. But yeah, I really want... I got an email survey asking me if I wanted to go to Riot HQ and test out the fighter game? Bro, what? Are you like a pro League of Legends player? How do I get an email like that? I want to go to Riot HQ and test out the game. I live in Los Angeles? Damn. I filled out a survey a long time ago about being in like the beta or whatever. And I really want to be in the beta. I wrote down like, they asked like your gender, I wrote woman because I, just in my head I was like, look, there's way more men fighting game players that are filling this out. This is like going to raise my odds. I think that's gonna get me in. Because they did something like that for Street Fighter where they did a closed beta and like no one got keys. I had to like really bug one of my friends to give me their key so I could stream the Street Fighter beta. But getting in early on a new fighting game is kind of broken. If you can get into the systems before everybody else, you're an absolute beast. It's totally exponential. Like the level up boost that you get at the very beginning goes so far. Because like you played a little bit in like 3 months early, you play for like a day, and then you're so clued in on the mechanics. You know exactly how the game is. So every time new news comes out, every time a new character trailer drops, you're like, oh, so that'll function well with this mechanic. And you're like thinking about how you got hit by all those specific moves. It's real. That Max Dude guy, like the main fighting game YouTuber, he got invited to so many Street Fighter 6 events that when the beta dropped, he was #1 on the leaderboard. And I think he's a strong fighting game player, but there were like actual like Street Fighter Pro EVO players in that beta that he was like destroying because he had all that fucking new knowledge fucking XP bonus. I'm trying to think about how this would be lit. I don't know why I placed it above everything else. Oh. The light is on this side of the thumb. But the rest of the light is lighting this way. And then also the light is hitting the glove this way. I'm too fucking stupid when it comes to lighting. I guess his thumb is like supposed to be angled down. Like the light is actually hitting it like this. We're just able to see below his thumb more than we normally would expect. I don't know. I might not agree. I might do it differently. I need to look at a thumb on Google. I mean, I could look at my own thumb, but I don't really like doing that. Also, my lighting isn't great, so... If light... Where's the light coming from in my room? Light comes this way. So if I was pointing at myself like this, the light's hitting this side of the thumb. Because the light's coming from this side. Need to get some models in here. Call up Terry and ask him to come over. Terry, you don't invite Terry over, he just kind of shows up when you and your bro are about to throw down, I guess. I know the nail is affected by light differently because it is much flatter. So you wouldn't have like a straight line like this. Not that it would look like that anyways, but it wouldn't be continuous. There's going to be a different shape of light interaction. I don't want to overthink it right now. Just needs like a little bit of shading. I never learned too much about shading in like school. I took art classes, but it was almost all about like composition and stuff because it was like a very general art class. It was just doing art in a studio basically. So they couldn't give like drawing specific, people specific. I mean, I could have probably asked, but why would I? When you're in school, like high school, you just want to get grades. You want to get A's and B's and homework done. You don't really... You're not thinking about the Street Fighter art contest that will be so pivotal later in your life. You should teach the real stuff you need in school, like FF6. That's true. My school started an esports club the second I graduated, the year after. And they did, like, everyone in my friend group, like, played Smash Bros. And we were all very good at it, and we went to like tournaments and stuff. And then nobody, like people in the grade below probably played it, but they weren't as good as us. And they did Smash Bros. They did a Smash Bros. Team esports thing like the moment we left. It was like directly targeted. They had a grudge against me. They were like, once he leaves, let's do this thing. Dude, I've done like every fucking shape here. I need to let it go and just work on something else and then come back and realize why it looks bad. Do one last search around to see the thumb. What could a thumb really look like? What would we look like if we had thumbs? When did you get into art? I was kind of always doing art ever since I was like little. My sister and my mom did art, and I think my grandma, so it was sort of like, it was just something you did. Like, if you had a pencil and you were bored, you would just draw, at least in my house and in school and stuff. So it was never like There's never a decision where I was like, I'm gonna do art now. I'm gonna learn art. But I've had like times where I've decided to take art more seriously, and they don't really amount to much. I likely won't make a job out of it or anything, right? Because I didn't go to school for art. I just took an art class in high school. But yeah. In high school I did just pencil stuff. I never learned paint. I never liked painting because it's so messy. I don't like having like goo all over me. I didn't like that. I don't like staining my clothes. That sucks. I want to just put my clothes in the laundry machine and take it out. Staining feels like I need to like interact with it in an annoying way. With graphite, you just get stuff on like your pinky and then you could wash your hands and get it off. And then paint you can't erase either. I did MS Paint forever, even when I was little. Once I got a computer with like a mouse, and my sister told me about MS Paint or something, I used it all the time. I did so much art on my computer. And then eventually I got a drawing tablet in like college. But in the last few years, when COVID happened, I would start doodling with my mouse again during class, and now I just only use a mouse to draw, pretty much. But I don't think that's weird, actually. Like, it used to be weird when I was in like elementary school, and I would show people art I did on the mouse. They like didn't believe me. They thought I like stole it from somewhere, because it was like very, very non-existent. But I'm really enjoying the mouse for drawing. That's nice. Yeah, when I started looking at other artists like on Twitter and YouTube and stuff later in life, I didn't realize how many people used a mouse. And nobody thought it was weird, like, at all. There were no comments or anything being like, I can't believe you did this, and it was on a mouse. Like, no one on the entire internet ever felt that that was weird for what I could find. So I was like, oh, it's not even interesting to use a mouse. I guess I'll go back to it. It's like not even a gimmick, it's just the most normal thing I guess you could do. But I think I like it because it's better for my back. I can't, if I draw, when I draw with a pencil, I hunch over. And it's also, I feel like I get a more objective look at what I'm drawing. Because whenever you're drawing on some, like a flat table, you only get a direct look at it if you're standing exactly above it, you know what I mean? Like the angle for drawing something, here is your sketch pad or whatever, and here is you're looking at it from this angle, so all the stuff, like the feet are bigger than the head from your perspective, so you compensate. Right? And then, so the head is so big then, because your perspective, you're drawing on this, right? That's how I feel. And if you want to get, like, the exact angle, you have to either destroy your back, because drawing is, like, something you do for hours, right? If you want to get good at it and you want to get a lot done. Or you get, like, a stand, and then it's, like, that's kind of awkward with my wrist, I feel like. I don't really like that either. Got some ads. Unlucky. I'll wait it out.
Aurelia underscore Holmes followed.
It does 2 notification sounds, but this time it's not all bugged out. It was really weird looking yesterday. Thank you. I don't know if you can hear me during an ad, and I don't know if you could see me. Some people can hear me sometimes, weirdly. Some people can see me on the side. But I'll try to thank you when the ad is over. We're back. Nice. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it. I generally try to stream from Friday to Monday. Every day at 8 EST to midnight-ish. Sometimes I can't do it because today and yesterday I had work, so I was late both days. But tomorrow I shouldn't be late. Right now, because of the art contest, I'm mainly doing art. But I do like to do... I would play the Street Fighter update later this month. And I like to do a lot of speedrunning stuff. So every month, generally besides this month, I'll learn new games to speedrun. And next month I'm doing like a gauntlet thing. So like at some point I'll do like a really long stream where I stream 1,000,000 games to speedrun. And then if people sub, I'll add more games to like the thing. So like we'll do like Mario, and then like Metroid, and then like, I don't know, Zelda or whatever. I'll have to beat all those before I can end stream. I'll try to make it so like the base is like around 12 hours, and then each sub will add a game, and they'll all be around like 2 hours. Because at this point I've learned actually like a lot of runs for a bunch of different games. And I haven't done like a big event on this channel that's just like me and not like racing other streamers slash like friends of mine. So that's next month. Every month I want to do like a main overarching thing. So this month is the art contest. Next month is the subathon speedrun thing. And then the month after that we're doing a Mario 64 race. I had a World of Warcraft speedrun. I don't think so, actually. Is that a thing? Oh, I think it is. I think I remember because they had some record when Classic dropped, right? Like they killed Ragnarok or some boss like super quick. I've never even made it that far in WoW. I just played it all the time and did nothing interesting. But yeah, if it's not completely insane to speedrun, maybe at some point I'll learn it, but it sounds like it would not be worthwhile. People create their own speedrun goals, but I was just joking. Yeah, I know you're just kidding. But yeah, next month, once this, I want to like really focus on this art contest, so I haven't been doing as much as like the locking in games as I should be for this event thing, but next month, I'll try to have everything like very neatly laid out in some graphic, and then I also have to practice like a shit ton of games too. But I have a Discord. Hopefully that link works. Let me know if it works. You can scroll down and click to join the Discord where I make announcements, because I actually did see that Twitch had like a new stories, or I think they have had stories for a minute, but I think they're planning on updating the mobile interface so you can push more stories out, because it's hard to send out announcements on Twitch, so I have to do the Discord thing. But I have roles you could get, so if you only care about art... I actually don't think I have an art role yet, but I'll add it tonight. If you only care about art, or if you want to watch speedrunning, I gotta update all the roles, but I never at everybody in my Discord. I'll only at, like, whatever role for, like, if you like Mario, or if you like Street Fighter, or you like whatever. But I gotta update my roles for, more specific use cases, so people don't... I never want to ping people who don't want... Both links are expired? Bruh. I think one of the links I had to close because someone was trying to dox me in my Discord, which is kind of funny. So I had to lock everything, and then I thought I changed the one on the... Oh, there are no active invites, you're right. I guess I didn't grab a permanent one. Here, take this. I'll try to figure out how to get a permanent one again later. That should hopefully work. Yeah, I don't do that much art this month. Obviously, I need to grind the art. So, I'll try to finish this, and then I'll definitely post a link to the art in when I do my submission. I must do a submission. At least one. I'm hoping to maybe do two, but again, it's like it's like voting. When I first thought it was like just Capcom. Like, you sent it to Capcom and they picked it, like, for the... They did a contest in Street Fighter V where you drew, like, a costume. And they would pick the best design. But this time I think it's voting. So, in that case, in art contests, you should always try to make one really good thing. You don't want to have a lot of good things, or else it'll split up your stuff. From what I know, I won an art show at my high school. I got 3rd place one year, and then the next year, I think the public do. They say voting period, so I doubt that they would put out a public voting period and then make it just the staff. I don't think they would call it a voting anything. I think they would just say. So I'm pretty sure it's the internet. So, especially if you have a unique style, you don't want people to vote based on the style and then get totally split up. If you think that your style is like very unique, you should fully back it behind one guy to just get everything kind of, because like you just want to get into the game. It's all about getting into the game, right? You're not going to get two. So that's my theory. But yeah, back in high school when they would do yearly art contests, that was my thing, is I just made one thing. The first time, I was such a procrastinator perfectionist. I skipped my art class where we were actually setting up the art for the contest. So I never even registered my art because I skipped that day to work on my project. And I didn't even come on time to the contest. I came like an hour. There's like 2 hours of like open voting. I finally finished it and got there an hour in. And I begged them to give me a number so people could vote for. And I didn't have my art didn't have a space to be hung up, so I just held it and told people to vote for it. And I got 3rd place, even being an hour late. But it was also kind of broken because I only had one piece. And then the next year, I got my whole room, and I got to do a presentation and everything, and I won that one. I got 1st place that time. I might have even told people. Well, the thing about that year too was I was the last presentation, so everyone else got to do presentations, and they got to be like, "This one means so much to me. If you voted for it, it would mean so much," or whatever. And then people would come out and they'd vote. When my presentation was over, during my presentation, they closed the polls. So I went in with a handicap that year too, and I won. Because I couldn't even be like, "This is my favorite piece of art, you should vote for it." Because if I did that, there wouldn't be enough time to vote. So, yeah. The strat, and you don't even need to be a champion to know that you should just enter one. Probably. If it's voting based. If it was Capcom based, you could enter a lot, because then Capcom will be like, "This guy's very talented." Like if it's like a jury of people, they'll do like weird things where they're like, moral whatever. This guy has a lot of good stuff, so we should honor his style in this way or whatever. Or like, if you're the 2nd and 3rd best entry, Capcom could actually designate that. Like, if there's a way to objectively quantify it visually. Or, like, let's say there's, like, 5 artists, and one's the very, very best, and he's submitted 10 things, and then the second one is really good, but you could, like, put him into a computer, and he's, like, objectively slightly worse, and he's only done 1. Well, the second guy is going to destroy the 1st place guy, because he's only entered 1 thing. But if like a jury was setting up, they'd be like, well, every single piece of art is better than this other guy's, so definitely one of this guy's should be our pick for the winner. You know what I mean? I think I explained that in like a very ridiculous way when it was kind of a simple idea, but yeah. I might do 2 though. It depends. I have like a bunch of sketches, but I don't want to lock anything in yet. But yeah, I don't know how the voting will work. If it's like on Twitter, I hope it doesn't get botted. There's an in-game voting interface that they use, and I almost feel like they might use that, but that will be impossible. Right now, they're doing a poll for like your favorite Street Fighter character, and there's literally like hundreds of Street Fighter characters, and their like in-game polling system is like obviously meant for like chocolate versus vanilla shit, like Splatoon style bets. Like there's 4 entries per page, so there's like a scroll bar, and you can't tap on the scroll bar and move it down. You can only move down the page by clicking down once each time. So they have every Street Fighter character. They have like Akuma, they have Aki, they have Ryu, you know, they have all your guys. And there's endless, and you go all the way down, and then you realize, wait, maybe I should do someone on the top. And then it takes like 12 minutes to get back to the top, and you're like, no, the bottom maybe I think had a pick I liked. And then imagine if it was that with every fucking thousands and thousands of pieces of art. But then I don't know how the voting will work at all, to be honest, because a lot of the submissions that are happening aren't going to be valid because the 4 characters they announced recently are not eligible. Like the website only says 22 available characters, and it still says that even after they announce them, and it makes sense because the art you're doing to get into the game, it can only be purchased if you have the character. And Elena, for example, is not going to be out till like next June. So it'd be kind of wild to accept a piece of art at the end of July and then be like, feel free to collect it 1 year from now, you know? So that makes sense. Even though Bison comes out this month, and it will totally not be a problem for Bison, I guess they don't want to be... They don't want to go, I don't know. They don't want to change the rules after making the rules, too, after competition started, because I guess that might be unfair. But obviously, a lot of people have been drawing Terry and Mai, and they won't be eligible, which means, I mean, I don't know. That's probably good for me, if people waste votes on, like, the actual amazing artists that didn't read the rules, and they voted for Terry and Mai, and then I just scoot on by with, like, my base roster Andy drawing. But there's also just, there's too much art anyways for that to really matter too. There's so much art on that hashtag right now. But yeah, I was saying earlier that like you can like prop up your drawing, but it's still like an angle and it's still a back thing. And it's also weird to, like, not be able to put as much pressure as you want because there's, like, this, like, makeshift triangle stand thing that you made. But with mouse, you can have it on your monitor and you're looking at it like normal. And I even have OBS open, like the streamer software, so I have it shown a second time on another monitor, so I could quickly get like a good look of whatever it is I'm drawing from just another perspective real quick. Like, oh, it looks like that. I mean, it's the exact same perspective, really, but it's useful to be able to, like, quickly look at a drawing at different, like, zoom sizes and stuff to be able to, like, really figure out if it looks broken or not. Yeah, this is how it was at the beginning of the stream. This is the progress I made. You make less and less progress every time you work because the details are less noticeable. I never thought I needed a second monitor, but since I've been learning drawing, I definitely want one for the reference. But I've gotten by all the time. It's one of those things where you can make do your whole life with just like a single monitor. But once you get the second one, you'll never be able to go back. I have 3 monitors, plus a stream deck. But I have to have one for OBS. And then just, like, you have to have it, because you have to be able to play Minecraft and have a YouTube video open. Like, if you can't do that, what is going on? But I respect people who only have one monitor. It's sort of like... It's like a Zen sort of anime thing to like live so without material, you know? It's like, I only need one screen. I go the podcast route. You could go the podcast route. But you could do the podcast or every possible thing ever. But yeah, or you have Discord on another monitor. It's so intuitive. It's just like, yeah. Technically, it's like, yeah, you could make, you know, one a smaller box, and then a smaller box on the right, right? And it's technically really the exact same thing. Like, really, you could get, like, one long monitor, and some people do that. But there's just something powerful about, like, putting a window on a monitor, and now that whole TV screen is just one application now. If you work from home on your computer, that's where the dual monitor really shines. Yeah, I mean, it's everything, man. Put your Zoom on one. You could put your spreadsheet on one. You could put the quiz on one. You could put the fucking answers on the other. You could put the study guide on the other. You could even do like one of my monitors I also have hooked up to my Switch, so you could do the thing where you sacrifice one. And then already have the setup where you're playing like console games and you've got the YouTube, you've got your computer at the same time, you've got Discord and everything. But there's the sacrifice with that where it's like, going down one is so tough. Losing one for the Switch, being like, oh, I got Discord, I've got Chrome, I've got OBS, not all of these can fit. I mean, it's technically the same, because if I have a game running, then it's also using up the monitor, but it's not the same. I put chat on all my games. Like, I have Chatterino, and I have always on top mode with the window. So I can't do that with Switch games. A lot of people don't like that, but when you're a small streamer, every second matters. Somebody comes in and you don't see that message for the whole Street Fighter match or whatever, they're leaving. You're doing them a disservice, and you're representing, most of all, you're representing yourself poorly. So I need that chat there. I need to respond as fast as possible. If you, yeah, I remember that, sorry. Yeah. When you start a drawing, the first line is 100% of the drawing. So right now, in this new drawing, I've made so much progress. But once you get into, like, this massive thing, every new line is, like, 0.000%. So you put a lot of work in one day, and it doesn't really look like you did as much. But it's important to remember that little factoid. But also, there's that one thing I remember reading. It's like an 80-30 rule or whatever. 80-20-30 rule expands on the 80-20 rule. While it agrees that 80% of your revenue comes from the top 20% of your customers, blah, 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 blah. There's a similar rule that isn't... I'm not smart enough for this. Oh, yeah. 80-20 rule. A principle that asserts that 80% of outcomes result from 20% of causes. So if you put in 20% of your time and effort into something, you'll already have 80% of the goodness of the utility or whatever. So theoretically, right, if you spend 20 minutes on something, you've already, like on a drawing, you've already gotten 80% of your likes and retweets when you post it. So now, if you've spent 100 minutes, you've only gained so much less, according to this rule. And it might sound like randomness, but there's truth to it. Like, when you look at other people's art, it's really obvious. When they cook something up, and they're like, man, this is pretty good, but I've got a long ways to finish, and they spend like 2 more days on it, right? And you know as an outlooker that if they just posted that thing from 2 days ago, they would have gotten about as much, like, either money or likes and retweets, or it just would have looked about the same, like, just the actual objective, like, niceness of the visual image. They would have gotten that much, and then they could have done, by that same logic, if 20% is already giving them 80, then they could have already done 4 more 20% to get 4 more 80s. So in the same amount of time it took the perfectionist to get 100% finally, the sort of like enlightened faultist, the guy that's okay with things not being perfect, got 400%, 80 times 5, right? So this guy's doing 4 times as much. Technically he did 5 times, but he also, at the end of the day, he's getting more utility each time, because he's not being a dirty, stinky perfectionist. I think this is real. You see it in game development a lot too. Like, a game will be, like, totally done in, like, 2023, like, in demos and stuff, and they spend a year on debugging, which is good. It's always good when that happens. It's always good that they spend more time on it. But the same thing does apply, where it's like, well, if they started a different thing, then they would have gotten so many more lines of code, so many more character models, so many more music tracks for the world, if instead of working on this thing that was already done with all that, and they just released it here. I don't know. I don't know how you get exactly 80-20, if that's just some philosopher's fucking bar, and then everybody else copied it. But misinterpretations. People may not realize that the 80-20 rule is a precept. I don't know what that means. Precept. A general rule intended to regulate behavior or thought. This is not a very... I'm not smart enough for that definition either. I think it's like a metaphor, but like... It's like a thought metaphor. I guess it's like a law based on faith or something. It's like how you're supposed to think, but it's not like scientifically derived. Not a hard, fast mathematical law. Furthermore, it isn't necessarily that the percentage equal to 100 inputs and outputs simply represent different units. The percentages of these units don't add up to 100. It's the concept behind the rule. Yeah, it's more about the concept. You could get more done if you get more done in the first half than the second half, basically. I think almost always, I guess. You write a paper, you write the whole first draft, and then you spend the same amount of time revising it. So you have the same amount of words almost, and you probably only raised your grade like 5%, whereas the first time you went from 0% to like 80, and then you revised it, and now you're at like an 88 or whatever, and you revise it again, and now you're at a 92, you know? But when you're the crazy thing is that this is so useful in creative fields, but it's very like it's almost anti-creative. It's like it's so rough to master. Like theoretically, I should consider this done probably, because the returns I'm getting on the amount of improvement that's happening have diminished. Although there's still some spots that definitely need to be cleaned up, but it makes some sense to me in terms of experience and improvement on your future work, getting more reps out in every stage of the process, so on your 100th project. You have 100 reps of practicing in the beginning of work, whereas if you are a perfectionist, you are probably spending more time on the second half of your project. Yeah. Yeah, YouTube videos are also a good one for that. Like, you cut it all together, and you've got something, but you can really dilate the amount of time you're spending on that YouTube video, if you've ever done editing. Alright, this little bit of skin needs shading. Where is the light coming from? It's coming sort of this direction, so it would sort of cast shadow like that. Then it probably wouldn't. I don't know. I don't really even know what these lines are, really. They're like veins, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there would be this much curving. It's kind of... It's kind of not looking right. Oh, it's almost midnight my time. I get really time dilated when I'm doing the drawing streams. I feel like I just started each time, and I'm actually much further along. I gotta head out and get some stuff done. The drawing is looking good. Keep up the good work. Thanks, dude. Thanks for the follow again and joining the Discord. Appreciate it. Hope you get all your stuff done and everything. And thanks for tuning in. I'll be live again tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be drawing an actual entry. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. See you, dude. Beginning and end. Not that bad, I don't think. Alright. That's pretty good for today, I think. It's basically done. The back arm is scuffed, and maybe I'll mess around with the face a bit more again, but I don't wanna touch it too much anymore. Ow, fuck. I just fucking combined my elbow with the button. Yeah, pretty soon I want to be done with this drawing and move on to the actual competition. The colors are going to be a bit desaturated because of the setting. I still can't decide on the white eyes. I think I'm gonna leave them out, but